Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Today, we're going to talk about censorship through that threat of demonetization. And the reason why I say that is because we all know that free speech is not free, and those who own the platform have sway, whether objectively or not, to demonetization and kicking people off of YouTube. And here I'm going to examine three of the popular YouTubers who were recently demonetized off the platform for one reason or the other. I'm not so sure it's one size fits all. And some of these guys claim they don't know why they were kicked off. Uh, I don't know if I believe that, but we're going to examine some of that. But first, like and share this video. Uh, Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. And I'm gonna keep it light because I'm not gonna sit down here and indict YouTube over what they do, but it'd be interesting to put all three of these people front and center in front of the congregation because I'm thinking that most YouTubers are familiar with all three of these folks who have decent platforms. Pearly Thing and Fit Fresh and Fit had over 1 million, almost 2 million subscribers, and Cynthia G had well over 100,000. So they were all making money, and they all supposedly stepped over the line. Whether you agree with how they stepped over the line or not, it'd be worth kind of listening and thinking about what went wrong, and if we really know what went wrong, and why YouTube has such a heavy hand with them for their transgressions. Anyway, so I'm gonna share a video on the YouTube guidelines for strikes. And I know they changed and updated them. It's a 3-minute video, and this video is going to be longer than usual. So I hate to make it this long, but some things need to be said, and it may hurt the viewership of this video, but that's okay. I don't care. If you're interested, you'll stay through the end. And more importantly, you'll comment on what you think the censorship, because when I hear that speech is being curtailed, I think it's censorship unless it's really, really, really egregious. I mean, deadly egregious. And I need to see where these guys went to that level, even if I didn't like or agreed with what they said. So anyway, here's the YouTube stuff, and we share that first. Go listen up to the video and let YouTube tell it.
A YouTube community guideline strike can be disappointing and worrying for creators. We know that creators often don't break the rules intentionally and just want to get back to making great content. That's why we've put together options for you to learn about our guidelines and resolve warnings you receive when violations do happen. Let's walk you through what each of these options are and what they mean for you and your channel. First, a quick reminder about what community guidelines are. YouTube's community guidelines outline what type of content is and isn't allowed on YouTube. There are a number of community guidelines, such as our impersonation policy, child safety policy, harassment policy, and many more. And these policies apply to all types of content on YouTube and help ensure our community stays protected. So now, let's walk through what happens if you violate YouTube's community guidelines and some options you have when violations happen. We've designed a system with guardrails in place to ensure creators have sufficient opportunities to learn from mistakes and make more informed decisions about their content without fear of penalty. When you violate one of our community guidelines, you'll first receive a warning. Once you're notified about your warning, you can review it to find out what policy you violated and what next steps you can take. You'll have 3 options. Option 1, you can take a policy training, which will allow your warning to expire after 90 days if you don't violate that same policy again within that time frame. Option 2, you can appeal the warning if you think the violation was given incorrectly. Or option 3, you can do nothing and keep the lifetime warning on your channel. Note that there's also flexibility with these options. You can choose to take the training and still also decide to appeal. Or, if you appeal and it's rejected, you can still take the training at that point. In the cases where you choose not to appeal, or you don't successfully appeal, We strongly encourage creators to take the training because it comes with additional benefits. It not only allows you to potentially remove the current warning from your channel, but it also grants you an additional warning if you violate a different community guidelines policy, so you have more opportunities to learn and avoid account restrictions in the future. Let's walk through an example of what this looks like. Let's say you violate one of our community guidelines for the first time. You'll receive a warning, and you'll be presented with the 3 options. If you complete the training and don't receive any community guidelines violations for any policies within 90 days, your warning will expire and you'll be back to good standing. If you complete the training and you do receive a community guideline violation for a different policy within 90 days, you'll receive another warning and you'll have the chance to take a new training specifically for that policy. If you choose to not take the training and do nothing, any additional violation for any policy will result in a community guideline strike. Note that after your warning, if you do violate the same policy again within 90 days, you will receive a community guideline strike, even if you completed the training. Remember, if you originally decide to do nothing but then change your mind, you'll always have the opportunity to appeal or to take the training. Now let's walk through what happens when you get a community guideline strike. On your first strike, you won't be able to upload, stream, or make certain edits on your channel for 1 week after you review the strike. After the 1-week period, we restore full privileges automatically, but the strike remains on your channel for 90 days. If you get a second strike within the same 90-day period as your first strike, you will not be allowed to post content for 2 weeks. If there are no further issues after the 2-week period, we restore full privileges automatically. Each strike will not expire until 90 days from the time it was issued. 3 strikes in the same 90-day period results in your channel being permanently removed from YouTube. We understand mistakes happen, and many creators don't violate our policies intentionally. So we hope this system gives creators the chance to learn more about our community guidelines, to help prevent violations moving forward, and to keep our YouTube community safe. To learn more about community guidelines and their enforcement, check out the links in the description.
All right, I'm gonna put this link in the description as well. Okay, so you got a nice little crash course, and we're gonna start with Fresh and Fit and some of the things that happened to them. But you know, I'm not so sure how many strikes they got before they were demonetized, and I haven't really looked, but I don't know if some of their videos are still up. I believe that they're able to still put content on YouTube, but they can't make any money on it. And so to them, it's not worth even putting content up there because I don't know what the overhead is for what they do, especially is if they're going to have people in. And I understand they even lost that studio space. So let's stop sharing this and go to their video and see what they have to say when we get to them. Okay. Share.
Women desire men that have the capability of being promiscuous. Who loses more status for being cheated on a man?
What we're supposed to do is conquer the world, is to add value.
So the controversial podcast and YouTube channel Fresh and Fit, known for being an alpha male podcast, has now been demonetized on YouTube. Let's talk about it.
I'm going to show certain
Guys, before we get into this video, please like and subscribe. I want as many people to find this channel as possible so you know what to do. Now let's get into a discussion regarding the Fresh and Fit podcast. It is commonly referred to as an alpha male podcast. It is hosted by a man named Myron Gaines. I believe the podcast films in Miami, and it covers a multitude of subjects from finances to fitness to masculinity.
I'm a man.
And they also have a very popular after hours program where more often than not, they have a bunch of, shall we say, scantily clad young women, and they go back and forth on the issues of feminism. They ask the women what their body count is. They often refer to them as 304s, which is a slang term for a hoe. And they've had many a clip go viral where they go back and forth with these women. Andrew Tate has been on the Fresh and Fit podcast. Sneako's been on the Fresh and Fit podcast. So that should give you a sort of view for what their content is. Of course, it is targeted towards towards young males, or at least has a predominantly young male audience, and now they've been demonetized on YouTube. They don't know exactly what for, but presumably because their content has been labeled as too controversial for the platform. Now, what does being demonetized by YouTube means? They can still post their videos on YouTube.
See, that's what she said, right? Too controversial to be monetized on a platform. And what I'm saying is, what's the controversy? If they're talking to women and they're who choose to live a certain lifestyle, and there's young men listening to them. So are we trying to save young men from what the reality of their life may be, dating certain women? Is there something subjective in how controversial that really is? Now, I was not a Fresh and Fit fan, but that explanation doesn't give me the vibes of something that was so egregious that we had to get demonetized, unless behind the scenes there's some cabal or some big money people saying that it's not worth it to YouTube to continue to be in a monetization partnership with Fresh and Fit, because their content is going to at some point cost you more money and more agita than they're worth. Right? That's what it seems to me. And if that's true, then it's not just about the policy, right? Because, other than when they dressed up as Ku Klux Klans and ape men and deride black men, the rest of it is just words, right? And just stupidity, and they were bringing in a lot of money for YouTube. And when that became not worth it, it's really perplexing. But let's continue and see what Myron knows.
They can still stream on YouTube. However, they will no longer benefit from the YouTube Partners Program, which is the AdSense money that you get from advertisers who show their ads on your show. They also can no longer be sent super chats from fans who watch their live stream and want to support them with their money through YouTube. That hopefully gives you a clear picture of what's going on here. Now let's hear about the announcement of this demonetization from Fresh and Fit host Myron Gaines himself.
Man, we got a very important announcement for you guys.
It won't be the same, bro.
Yeah, the channel has been kicked off the YouTube Partner Program. Just keep it straight with
If you look right now, you can't even super chat or
you can't even super chat right now.
Yep. So this is the beginning of the end of this era.
We're working with YouTube to try to come to a middle ground and work together and figure this out. But for now,
we don't even know why.
We don't know that.
Myron, a middle ground? Really? You're gonna go back to YouTube and try to find a middle ground, brother? You need to be groveling on your knees to get your channel back. There ain't no middle ground. I mean, if they grace you with a full explanation of why they demonetized Fit, you're supposed to just shut up and say, yeah, you know what? It's either worth it to continue the channel with your monetization back on under the new strict rules and punishment they're going to have for you, or not. And since we haven't heard from you, I guess you might have made your choice, or they're not giving you the chance. But there's no middle ground, brother.
The specific reason. When you guys send me your DMs and say, yo, you saved my life. Yo, you send me a picture of your credit score. Yo, my girl is making sandwiches now, or whatever it is, right?
No comment.
We've helped a lot of you guys from killing yourselves, from making a really bad decision. What I'm asking you guys is, just like we've saved you guys, we need you guys to save us. Guys, it's gotten to the point now where even where we shoot the location doesn't want us to stay here.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to say that. I really didn't want to have to admit that. Dude.
All right, so let me stop it right there. They're losing at every turn, right? Because of, we're not completely sure, but, it is what it is. And they're gone now, and they haven't been back since. So we're going to switch over to another lady from Cynthia G, and we're going to find out her egregious stuff. And she was really egregious, and she was allowed to stay for years.
Has it out for her, and I have a feeling I know who it is, but I can't say for certain, right? But somebody is particularly behind this. But see, Storm Monroe doesn't reveal who or what the entity is responsible for the deletion of Cynthia G. But then I ended up getting an email, and it comes from this subscriber who shall remain nameless. It says, ODJ, they're saying this article was the catalyst to Cynthia G getting booted off YouTube for good. Reference Dennis Sperling. So Dennis Sperling somehow found this article, and when you click on it, it goes to a blog. The blog is called Ars Technica, and the name of this article is called Profiting Off Racism, channel calling for aborting Black pregnancies temporarily restricted by YouTube. And it is written by Ashley Bellinger. When I click on that picture, I see Ashley Bellinger. Ashley is a senior policy reporter for Ars Technica, dedicated to tracking social impacts of emerging policies in new technologies. So we can see that that person is Caucasian. But let's go back into what the article says. And the article says this: sad music! YouTube has removed one video and stopped monetizing YouTube influencer Cynthia G's channel after finding that the account repeatedly violated YouTube's policies by posting videos over the past 2 years that accumulated tens of thousands of views by calling for Black abortions. The decision came after an ARS reader asked ARS to investigate why these videos do not violate YouTube's community guidelines. Can I get a dun 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 sound effect, Dima? The article continues. Hitchcock music! The video that YouTube removed was titled, If Aborting Black Males Isn't the Solution, What Is? It was posted in November 2021, and as of last week, still qualified for ad monetization. In the video, Cynthia G said that a lot of people considered the solution to be something horrible that is genocidal, and provided a racist justification, saying that the only way to counter Black male violence is to eliminate Black men. Stop the show. Wow. This is a white lady who has put together this article in a magnificent way. And I want to give her a shout out for that. And for those people who believe that Black men are behind flagging Cynthia G or removing her content, clearly we are seeing from arstechnica.com, it doesn't seem to be the case. However, we continue. YouTube did not remove other videos flagged by ARS on the same topic or ours. One video titled, Do Black Women Benefit from Birthing Black Males? Directs hate at Black male children because they turn into Black male adults, which equals the enemy of Black women, and advocates for Black women to abort male fetuses. Because if we don't give birth to them, then they don't exist. Can I get a dun 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 sound effect?
Giving you free money that directly returns to your wallet. If you typically earn 3% back from your credit cards for purchase.
Another video title, Should We Continue to Give Birth to Them? Similarly suggests the best path to eliminate Black men is for Black women to eliminate them through your womb. According to YouTube, the removed video violated the platform's hate speech policy, which prohibits content that promotes violence or hatred against individuals based on protected attributes, including claims that groups or individuals are mentally inferior based on attributes such as race. Also, encore music! YouTube did not clarify why the videos that remained online do not violate community guidelines, instead providing ARS with the statement, we issued a strike to the channel Cynthia G for violating our hate speech policy and suspended monetization on this channel following repeated violations of our YouTube partner program policies. And when you look at this particular reader comments, it's 118, which a lot of them, in my honest opinion, I don't probably feel like they are Black. It appears that many of these people are concerned humans from all communities. And I really just want to deal with this whole idea that Black men.
Listen, before we go into that, there were countless Black men who came to YouTube to tell them about that channel, and they ignored Black outrage. So this is where the inconsistency comes from. And that's the problem, right? Because whoever makes these decisions to take down one channel and leave another channel up, is clearly can't separate the rules from their own personal behavior. Because the very first time Cynthia G put up a video extolling the virtues of eugenics towards Black men, she should have been eliminated from YouTube altogether. And this is the one violation that is clear that she should not have been. If anybody would have said this about gays, the folks from the other community, or anybody else, they would have been done very first video. But since it was Black men, it was allowed to last for 2 years. 2 years making money off of the eugenics of Black male babies. YouTube, you got to take a hit for that. And you corrected it, thank God. But it took a white woman to come to the rescue, essentially, of Black men. Took a white woman to come to the rescue of Black men. And you know what? That's just the truth. All right. So, and that's as hard I'm going to get on this one because it's just obvious. If you can get rid of Fresh and Fit for whatever the hell they did, and I'm going to get to the next video on Just Pearly Things, this one is the most egregious out of them all, and it's the easiest one to adjudicate. I'm going to end it right there. But you know what? I really feel bad about this. This is a very disappointing thing. Because as soon as she opened her mouth to say what she said, she should have been banned from YouTube forever. Forever. I mean, forever. Anyway, so there are no strikes, no nothing. You're out at the plate. Out at the plate. Anyway, so I'm going to end that one. And we're going to go on to the last one. And, I feel bad about that because whoever was supposed to be on those boards clearly didn't care about them, a Black woman saying the most egregious eugenics thing about black men. It just has to be said. Anyway, so let's leave that alone. What's done is done. I'm glad they corrected that. Bad things just not going to last forever. So that's good. So I'll give you, the fact that you guys made a mid-course correction, and even though it took 2 years, I'm glad you did. Okay, here's the last one, and let's go.
AudacityNetwork.store. Get your T-shirt today.
Then repetitive videos on Piers Morgan that took shots at certain protected groups like the Jews. Then there was the Nick Fuentes interview that took shots at the Blacks. And then there's repetitive shots at overweight women and repetitive shots at women in general. But she was still relatively safe on the platform. We think that because she was a woman that helped her out a lot. But why did Just Pearly Things get demonetized? Can I get a dun 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 sound effect? Well, Just Tree 411, aka Tree of Logic, figured it out. And I gotta give her a round of applause because she's one of the best YouTube detectives I've ever seen in my life. We're gonna go and find out why Just Pearly Things most likely got kicked off YouTube.
So let's go on to what she did. Oh, here's where it gets good. So we're going to show you the current events, and I want to show you, or shall I say, we're going to show you how the crescendo of everything, like how it went from how one thing led to another, and how Pearl is indeed playing dumb. So remember, look at this time right here. This was done today, November the 15th, like tomorrow's November the 16th. This is when you guys are going to see the video on November the 16th. And it's at 6:43 p.m. Okay. This is when she claims, I don't know why I got a YouTube strike. I don't know why not YouTube strike. I don't know why I got demonetized. Well, let's look at this complaint here that was sent from a young lady who was complaining to YouTube about the exploitation of her sister and how nothing was done for this and nothing is done to this. So here's the thing. The TikTok YouTuber Pearl, and she at Pearl. This is what I'm saying. She at Pearl. So this was like nothing new to Pearl. Pearl knew what was going down. So she at Pearl and says, the TikToker slash YouTuber Pearl stopped my 15-year-old sister and her school friends on the street to ask them invasive questions about sex on her YouTube channel. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. She made several cut downs of the videos and has subjected them to abuse from the hashtag red pill community. Now, this is something that's very important because that's harassment. That's against terms of service. So get ready for a daggone community guideline strike there, Pearl.
So let me stop her right there because she's absolutely correct. We went over some of the guidelines and some of the strikes and how you get it. And there's other videos on some more specifics. And so Pearl, in her arrogance, actually, she just forgot that you have to be careful who you're talking to and asking the questions you're asking. Now, she's been around for a long time. So was it just the fact that she talked to a 15-year-old and asked her a couple of questions and clipped it and used it over and over? Maybe, or is it a compilation or a compendium or whatever things that she's done? She has a full-fledged attack on her channel from women who are fat, right? But is she really lying about fat people? Right? I'm overweight. I have to lose another 100 pounds probably. So, but I don't detect no lies, right? Because I'm at the age where you can start to see the impact of being fat, And so this glorification of real fat people is stupid. It shouldn't be pearly things talking about fat people. It should be the Department of Health. It should be the CDC. We can't be worrying about people's feelings and shame, right? We just went through 2020. It really impacted a lot of big people. Heart disease is like the #1 killer of everybody. And they already know what's the biggest contributor to heart disease, right? So I remember when I was a young man, sugar diabetes was what we called it. We called it sugar diabetes until the sugar lobby stopped everybody from using sugar in front of diabetes. And anybody over 50, 50 or 40 will remember that. Anyway, so listen. So this is a tale of 3 people who got demonetized. And yeah, you probably could make a case for each 3 of them, right? But the most egregious is Cynthia G. And you know what? Can't really keep complaining about it since they caught up with her. Maybe it's 2 years too late. But you know what? I didn't have any, I wasn't an avid watcher of the Just Pearly things, but a lot of things she said, I agree with, right? But, some things were over the top. As far as like, women shouldn't vote, well, that Rubicon has already been passed. When they allow, I think the 19th Amendment, when they allow women to vote, what they did was they exempted women from all the responsibilities that came with it. That was the mistake. That was giving them the right to vote wasn't the mistake. Exempting them from all the responsibilities that comes with being a full citizen who has voting rights. That was the mistake. That was the mistake. And we don't have to go down that road. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to go down that road, but you should know what that is. That was the mistake. So are they going to ever take the woman's right to vote away? Hell no. We all know that. We all know that. So, so she's just trying to sell t-shirts. Anyway, I thought this was a good thing to kind of recap, because all of us who are on YouTube, whether we're serious or we're going to be big or not, we all have to realize that, it's a thin line. It's actually a thin line that we all run, because we all are going to say things that we believe is true that's going to piss somebody else off. Right? And so we have to ride this fence. And YouTube is telling you that, you know what? You know, you could call it censorship. We're telling you that there's a fence there. And sometimes it leans right, sometimes it leans left. But you got to ride it and you can't fall off. Or else, depending on who's doing the review, you could be demonetized or never monetized at all. You know, so that's a chance you take by using our platform. Because you know, free speech isn't free. And we're here to remind you of that. And even if you don't think you're saying or doing something egregious, somebody in the back channels of YouTube just might. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to be a YouTuber, the bigger you get and the more you rely on their money, the more careful you need to be. It's just as simple as that. And that means you have to use your intellectual prowess to be able to say the things you say without breaking the rules. So with that, I'll say our pain, marriage, politics, and sports. Over and out.